All right, haves and have not fans. This is the first episode review of the final batch of episodes. So we're talking last night's episode, A Game of Chess, Season 9, Episode 1. And yes, I'm calling it Season 9. If you don't want to call it Season 9, more power to you. I'm calling it Season 9. So, what are my thoughts? If you joined the live stream last night, or hell, if you even followed me on Twitter and was tweeting with me last night, I had more fun tweeting than watching the episode. But before going into the full-on breakdown, let me just say, I recall what I said weeks ago when I said if Justin dies in the premiere, the episode automatically gets a 10 out of 10. Lo and behold, barely 5 minutes into the episode, if you don't count the commercial break, because I had forgotten how HAHN operates, where we'll get maybe 2 or 3 minutes of an episode, technically less than 2, because we had the last season recap plus the theme song. We had the Justin burnout and then a 10-minute break, and then we came back from commercial break, and then he was pronounced dead. So I'd say within the first couple minutes of the episode, I'm like, there we go, he's dead, yes. But then we get into like 22 minutes of nothing, and that's where the episode fell flat for me. So now, if I were to keep my word and say, based on Justin's death alone, this episode gets a 10 out of 10. But from a more objective, okay, I didn't expect the first 2 minutes of the episode to make me happy, but then after that, I get bored. Now, if I were to judge the episode not based on my 10 out of 10 statement, I would have to give it about a 4 out of 10. I know that seems extremely low, but I'll explain why, because I don't even think this episode review might be 20 minutes long. Usually I say that and then the episode runs longer than that, but I have to say this episode was littered with the Tyler Perry tropes of wasted scenes, repetitive dialogue. So before going further, make sure you hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Go ahead and hit subscribe, hit that bell icon and select all. That way, you don't miss out whenever I post new content on the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. So, the thing that tripped me out about the opening scene is the fact that while Justin's on fire, you see he actually grabs onto Jeffrey. Like, oh no, we going together. And I'm like, damn, that's cold. It's like you said you weren't going to shoot Jeffrey at the end of the last episode, but then you literally plan on incinerating yourself with him, and it's like, wow, that's not cold. Obviously it's hot because of fire, but that was messed up. But Madison to the rescue knocks Justin off of Jeffrey to the wall, and then he falls on the floor, and kind of like like if you throw a piece of paper or whatever in the fire and it like crumbles up and then burns. That's pretty much what happens to Justin, because Madison is screaming at like one of the restaurant employees, do you have a fire extinguisher? Do you have fire extinguisher? So he rushes to get the extinguisher and use it on Justin. And the funny thing is, like, you could tell this was obviously CGI smoke, because I actually rewatched the episode this morning. That way, I just wanted to make sure whenever an episode is really bad, I try my best to rewatch it prior to my review, just to make sure I wasn't too harsh on it. But then after rewatching, I'm like, yeah, there were a lot of things in the episode I noticed that were actually worse than when I watched it live. But yeah, the CGI smoke, and on top of that, you can tell the lack of realistic tendencies of the scene in the restaurant. Like, I even remember tweeting last night when I rewatched the final couple minutes of the last episode prior to the Final Temptation special at 7, was that, Justin rolls up in there, obviously smelling like gas, and he pulls out, he has like the gun kind of visible before he even sits down. It's like, and this is a close quarters restaurant. This isn't like, where tables are, well, for lack of a better phrase, this isn't a restaurant that's obviously like socially distanced. This is like a hole in the wall kind of restaurant where it's like you're noticeable if you're strolling through the chairs and everything. So nobody looked up, what the hell is that? Nobody smelt that gas. Nobody noticed his gun. And again, the lack of realistic elements is, good and hell well, if this was real life, there would have been at least a couple people with their phones out recording it. I'm talking even when Justin was on fire And then obviously when he got extinguished out, and then Madison's, trying to check the body. Like I tweeted out, one of the most popular tweets of mine from last night was when I said, we're not even 2 minutes into the episode and Jeffrey's already getting on my damn nerves. Because Madison is like, do you have any, gloves or anything? No, but he has oven mitts. I'm like, this is like one of the most ill-prepared or supplied restaurants I've ever seen. Like, no equipment for any kind of emergency that goes on. Damn incompetence. But in any case, Madison has a couple of oven mitts on. He's trying to check, Justin to see if he's alive. What got me is Jeffrey's dumb ass is like, as soon as Justin was extinguished, you see Jeffrey kind of like reach over, and then Matt's like, hey, Jeffrey, don't touch him. It's like, dude, what the? I don't know why, but one of the most memorable scenes of the book and movie, To Kill a Mockingbird. To Kill a Mockingbird. Look, I had a brain fart right there. But basically when Atticus Finch told his kids that, because there was like a rabid dog in the neighborhood, and Atticus took a shotgun, because I think it was like said that he was one of the best shots in the town. So when he took the gun and shot the dog from a far distance, he told his kids, hey, don't go anywhere near that dog. An animal with rabies is just as dangerous dead as it was alive. And I don't know why, but that always stuck with me. I don't know why that is. But basically, that's essentially the situation. It's like, Jeffrey, what the hell are you doing? You're like a child who's touching an oven even though you shouldn't. It's some dumb bullshit. I don't know. But in any case, his whining made the first couple minutes unbearable. From the moment I saw Justin hit the ground looking like a burnt hot dog, I'm like, yes! And then Jeffrey just had to ruin the moment by whining. It's like, because again, Madison is, did he suspect Madison would not help Justin? It's like, if I leave Madison by himself, then maybe he'll make sure Justin's dead or something. No, he's just, no, I'm not, I need to stay here. I need to see if he's, just shut the, I wanted somebody to come in and just grab him, but I don't know. But in any case, we come back from commercial break. We get the opening credits, and paramedics are there on the scene. Jeffrey's freaking out, and Madison is continuously trying to, resuscitate Justin. But then the one paramedic's like, Madison, stop. Jeffrey's like, is he dead? He's gone. Yeah, so Justin is dead. So from there, I'm just like, hooray! And then Madison stands up and then he's like, hey, Jeffrey, are you okay? Honestly, that's a fair question, because remember, a guy engulfed in flames literally was trying to bear hug you. So, Jeffrey said he was fine. But thankfully, again, Madison was kind of the MVP until maybe 30 seconds later. But, he was like, Jeffrey, don't do this. Don't get to the point where you're going to blame yourself for this. He was already like destroyed mentally and everything. And he was making the good points, because it wasn't Madison trying to get on Jeffrey's good side. It was Madison rightfully telling Jeffrey, don't blame yourself. Honestly, Jeffrey has that Peter Parker, Bruce Wayne syndrome, where it's like everything that happens bad to somebody in their lives, they automatically take the weight on for themselves, even when it's like, no, that person made their own decision. So, you can't be to blame for that. And then from there, Jeffrey just tells Madison that, look, I can't see you anymore, because what my mom did to him, he'll do to you. I ain't gonna lie. Jeffrey, at first glance, some people might say, oh yeah, Jeffrey's just torn over Justin being dead, and that's who he really cared about, and now he doesn't want Madison. I don't think that's it. I think Jeffrey was actually making a solid point, because he knows what his mother is capable of. And to be honest, remember, Veronica told Jeffrey Veronica told Justin that she wasn't done with him. Like, this whole torture and everything that he's going through, that's not going to be over until she says it's over. And to be completely honest here, for Madison's own good, he ought to stay away. But no, Jeffrey, don't say that. No, I can take care of myself. Don't worry about her. It's like, dude, this scene was just so cringy. So from there, it's like, I want to go home. It's like, no, just, you don't need to be alone right now. No, my dad's at home. I'll be with him. You come over to my place. So when they're about to leave, Jeffrey's like, wait, are you just going to leave him here? It's like, well, there's nothing we can do. The coroner hasn't even arrived yet. So I'm like, Jeffrey, take your dumb ass home. All right, so, oh, God. All right, so there they go over to Madison's house. I ain't gonna lie, they kind of switch scenes pretty quickly. I was a bit surprised. So 1 minute they're at the restaurant, then they're at Madison's place. Jeffrey's on the phone calling Pearl. Basically, what did Jeffrey say? Oh, I don't know Pearl. I haven't met her, but I do have her number. I guess he got it from Justin's phone. I don't know. But in any case, Jeffrey is, saying, well, I don't know if I'm staying here. I need to go home, but I'll at least just take a shower. So Colby comes in basically going on about, his day, the situation with Tanner and everything along those lines. But Madison's all sad because he reveals the situation about how Justin set himself on fire, killed himself, and Colby was the only good part aside from Justin's death being confirmed. Colby was the only good part about it. It's like, hey Jeffrey, oh, why does he smell like stinky barbecue? It's like Colby is like, bye Jeffrey. Sorry that bitch burned himself alive. That was extra crispy. I was like, okay, Colby, you saved the scene, but damn it. So originally this episode was supposed to air on May 25th, but then it got pushed back to June 1st. I'm speculating here because there were some scenes and dialogue between Jeffrey and Madison, and then Madison and Colby pretty much summing up the whole thing about, we're being targeted and harassed and whatnot because we're homosexual and all. I'm like, was this a strategic airing where, let's air this first episode of the final season of the Haves and Have-Nots on June 1st, which is the first day of Pride Month, because there are some messages and tones within the episode that need to be heard by those of the LGBTQ plus community. If that is the case, I'm not surprised, because that's kind of like the feeling I was getting watching this scene. These scenes. But honestly, there's nothing to talk about here. Madison's sad because Jeffrey's so helpful and whatnot, and he just doesn't want me to get hurt, but I care about him and this and that. And Colby's like, well, don't back away like you always do. Just, stay with him. And there really isn't much to talk about. This was just a huge waste of like 1/3 of the episode. So from there, we go over to David's house. And I'm sorry, actually, it looks like we jump to the next morning because Madison comes in with coffee. It looks like a bag of food, and he asks Jeffrey if he slept well. So I'm assuming we're in the next day, early in the morning. And long story short, Madison says he'll take Jeffrey home to David's house. So we go over to David's house, and Pearl is standing there with a guy, and it wasn't Leo. So I'm like, okay, does this confirm that Leo isn't the only guard standing watch at David's 24/7? Maybe there is a rotating staff. But then this guy magically disappears when we see that Jeffrey and Madison get to the house. So I'm wondering if this was the morning guard at David's house and he let Pearl into the house, because some people are like, wait, did Pearl just roll up into David's house without knocking? I mean, is this Pearl's driver, bodyguard? I don't know. This is just a nameless dude, and I'll leave it at that. But in any case, she's there because of the voice message that Jeffrey left for her, and they introduced themselves to each other. And Pearl is basically like Veronica, and this is why I'm like, damn, I wish Pearl and Veronica would meet. She is pretty much under the assumption, based off what Justin told her, that Jeffrey was stalking my son and doing all kinds of, evil things. I bet it has some voodoo in it, some unnatural things, essentially insinuating that Jeffrey is the reason Justin is gay. It's like he was married, he was happily married, and he did all this weird stuff to him. So then when they're going to back and forth, because David's like, no, your son was stalking my son, and the first time they met, he arrested Jeffrey and was fondling him in the back of his police car. Believe what you want to believe, that's the truth. And then when Pearl was like, I'm not going to stand here and take this, I want to leave this crazy place before I get caught in a drive-by. I'm like, if you only knew, Pearl, because I did notice on the second viewing, I'm like, oh, so the carpenters and whatnot, they finally fixed all the bullet holes and everything that was in David's house, because I was wondering what Pearl standing in the living room area, I would have been like, wow, I wonder what her reaction is going to be once she sees that David's place is shot up. But no, it looks like the repairs have been made. So while Pearl is about to, leave, that's when Jeffrey and Madison come in, because, David called Jeffrey and he's like, oh, Jeffrey's right around the corner. And before Jeffrey can even say anything, Pearl just goes in on him. Look, I don't care what is America says, if gay marriage is allowed, but you're not getting my blessing if you ever want to marry my son. It's like, wait, what are you talking about? So before anything can be said, because Pearl just keeps going on and on and on, thankfully, Madison shuts it down by saying he's dead. What? Justin is dead. And she doesn't believe it. She hops on the phone, obviously voicemail. And, Madison says, hey, his body's at this such and such a morgue. And then she just leaves in a hurry. And David gets the news of the suicide about, hey, he showed up at the restaurant. He had a gun, set himself on fire. Well, I almost felt sorry for him. Dad, just don't. It's like, because everything what mom did to him and everything, it's like, Jeffrey, yes, there are multiple contributing factors to the Justin death, but at the core of it, he did what he did. So that's about it. So from there, Jeffrey just thanks Madison for letting him spend the night. So then he goes up to his room, and then David's telling Madison, you can go upstairs with him. Just make sure you lock the door this time. Look, Mr. Harrington, none of that's going to happen this time around. I'm sure of it. Well, he just keeps pushing me away. Well, go up there, but you talk too much. Just listen to him. So Madison goes upstairs, and then that's the last we see of them. I guess we might see him next week. Might not, but to be completely honest, I think we've seen enough Jeffrey and Madison for a few episodes because they took up far too much screen time, if you ask me. All right, so from there, we got Mitch going over to Catherine's house. He runs into Hannah as she's coming out of the house, and basically, hey, Mrs. Young, Mitch, what are you doing? Mitchell, what are you doing here? Seeing Mr. Cryer, just has some business. Family business? Wait, was my family here? Because Mitch is on edge right now because he doesn't know. His lies are catching up to him. So Hannah doesn't tell him shit, but basically says, Mitchell, if this has anything to do with that money, did you lie to those people? Did you lie to your family and make it seem like my children will be protected by your family? So then if it turns out that's not the case, my children are going to be in harm's way. And I'm like, Hannah, your kids got $8 million freaking dollars. You don't expect anything bad to happen to them. You can make all your threats and whatnot. But at the end of the day, Mitch has a mobster family. Jim Cryer is an evil son of a what, and you think your children walking around here with $8 million isn't going to result in them, no, I'm not doing it. I did way too much ranting on that money last season. I don't want to do it this season unless it's brought up a lot like it wasn't in this episode. They actually didn't bring it up that much, and I'm happy about that. So Mitch doesn't get any information from Hannah. She's like, look, I got to run an errand, but you better be gone by the time I get back. So then he knocks on the door. Jim comes out. Even though it was great to see Mitch and Smug Jim, this was the first time in a while I've seen Jim like, you know what, I don't mind him in a scene. But yet again, we have another scene of just repetitive, stale dialogue. I don't even want to go through the entire scene, but basically here's the gist of it. Don't talk to my family. I never said I was talking with your family. But what if I was talking with your family? Are you sweating, Mitchell? Are you worried about something? No, are you? No, I'm doing fine. Oh, yeah, your son came out of this alive this time. Basically, Mitch is making empty threats because Jim knows that Mitch obviously isn't the powerful one of the family. He tried to utilize his Mama Rose's love for her grandson to use against Jim, but that doesn't mean a damn thing. And, basically, just don't talk to my family. Okay, get out of here, prick. That's the scene. And it was drawn out for 7 minutes. So from there, Jim sits on the stoop and pretty much talks about the situation with David, just kind of a recap. And honestly, this was funny because this was the first time that Jim has called David without a laundry list of things to give him, because I really liked in this scene that David was the one being, I guess you could say giving, while Jim is like, no, don't worry about it. Jim's like, I got to get out of here. I can't sleep here. It's like, well, you can come stay with me. It's like, no, I can't. And I like that because, last season, every time, hey, David, here's 50 things you need to do for me. No, he was like, I got to find a way out of this because, the one bitch has all my money, Candace, and the other bitch has control of it, Hannah. So basically, he talked about the whole Mitch situation. David's like, this is going to take some time. It's like, well, we don't have time, David. I'm a man who wants results. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we only got 7 episodes left, David. And then my favorite part of this scene is when David was like, when you're down and out, help is hard to find. I was like, if that ain't my mama right there, whenever something happens, I saw that meme not too long ago. It was like, anytime a black person opens a bill, you can hear somebody saying, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But in any case, David said he'll look into it. It's going to take time to work out. And Jim's like, how about I'll come over to your place and we could talk about it. I'm like, scene transition. All right. So in any case, we go over to Conley and Charles, yet another wasted scene. Again, I don't hate Charles. I don't hate any of these characters. Love Jeffrey Owens got this opportunity. Landon's pretty tolerable as of the last couple episodes, but this entire storyline just needs to go. There's only 7 episodes left. What was this scene? Landon pretty much telling Charles, hey, I don't trust Conley. He's suspiciously making a lot of recommendations for, the cabinet members. And I think because I'm so accustomed to the Oval, I honestly don't really care about any kind of presidential storylines in the older shows. That's probably why I just don't care. But at the same time, this scene the only thing this scene had relevance to is like, wait, why is he asking you about Candace Young? I think this is a way he can get leverage over you, yada, yada, yada. That's honestly the entire scene. And then it's like going upstairs to make more conference calls. Yep, January is going to be here before you know it. All right, so then Wyatt flirts with a nurse. It doesn't work. He wants pain pills. Obviously, he wants to go to the bathroom unhandcuffed so he can escape. She doesn't buy it. So this nurse, MVP of the episode. She ain't fall for the bullcrap. Hey, you need to empty this jug out. Bitch, come empty this pee jar. That's literally it. So we had 2 scenes back to back that served no purpose to the episode. The Charles scene and the Wyatt scene. All right, so we're almost done here. Catherine calls Hannah, or was it Hannah calling Catherine? I forget which one. Either way. Oh, yeah. Obviously, it's Catherine calling Hannah because she was on the phone in the jail. But basically, unlike David and Jim, Catherine had a list of things for Hannah, basically saying, could you go check on Wyatt, and then could you go to Wyatt's loft where mystery man Broderick is staying, basically let him know what's going on, and if he needs anything, give it to him. Basically saying, hey, I'm not giving Jim a damn cent, but my man Broderick, give him everything that he wants. And tell him to come see me because for some reason I can't reach him here on his cell phone in here. I'm like, I wonder why. Is Broderick purposefully not taking those phone calls, or is it just like, I don't know, like Broderick sees a number from a restricted location and he's not accepting it? I don't know. But in any case, after that, go see Marty and tell Marty to come see me about my bail. And that's essentially it. Because aside from that, the most important thing I wanted to talk about was Hannah telling Catherine about the fact that, I was speaking with Marty and, your people yesterday, and they want to know so many things about the stocks and buildings and whatnot. And Catherine's like, look, Hannah, just come by with the information and bring it to me. I'll tell you what to approve, and then that's it. Well, yeah, I've been trying my best to learn how to do this stuff as well. Well, Hannah, it took me years to learn it. You don't have to, but if you want to, continue. And it wasn't like Catherine patronizing Hannah. It's like, oh, Hannah, don't worry about it. I can make all these decisions. It took me years to decide on, what the right choices were. So no need to burden yourself with that. But I feel like Hannah's going to continue on the path she's going on, and she's going to figure this thing out one way or another. So after that, let me double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. If you don't mind, just one moment, please. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because Hannah gets off the phone and Veronica comes in, and I just thought about it. Wait, so I guess Hannah came back from running her errand, and because she said she's about to leave and lock up, and Veronica can't wait. Veronica just walks on in there like she owns the place, and she wants to see Jim. And this is where the episode yet again just has so much of a bigger look. My mom literally called me halfway through the recording of this review, and we only spent like 6 minutes on the phone talking about the episode because of how repetitive it was, because there wasn't anything to talk about. Basically, Veronica, I love how she swooped in and kind of stole the episode because, it's Veronica, and she just did a lot of patronizing to Hannah. I ain't gonna lie, like the moment she stuck her finger in Hannah's face, I was like, yo, this is where the fight's going to start. But no, she's like, I never liked this house. Do you know it used to be a plantation house? They can, the things they used to do to people like you. Veronica, you're just as dark as I am. Yeah, right. So basically, Veronica pulled an Uncle Ruckus. And Hannah keeps saying, you're not going up there. You're not going up those stairs. I'm like, Hannah, Veronica's halfway up the stairs. She even says so. It's like, Oh, you want to drag me down here? Fine, I'll sue you. All I know is I'll get some water in a bucket, and that's it. Oh, yeah, well, you already got a broom. I'm like, damn. So then she's screaming, Veronica, Veronica, HAHN. I ain't gonna lie, that was actually pretty funny. So she's going through all these drawers trying to find information. Hannah keeps threatening her, and she calls the police. You want to call the popo on a black woman? Again, that was actually a funny line. But I'm just like, Hannah, Veronica's gone through damn near every drawer and you haven't done anything. So when she finally gets in front of it, Veronica's like, you need to move. I'm not going anywhere. All I could think about was Captain America Civil War when T'Challa and one of the Dora Lamage were going into the limo, and then Black Widow standing in their path, and then she steps up in front and goes like, move or you will be moved. I'm like, oh, but no. Veronica reaches into the drawer. Hannah closes it on her hand, and then they get into it. Like, Veronica makes the first slap. Hannah slaps back, shoves her on the bed. Veronica gets up, shoves her against the wall. The vase falls, and that's the end of the episode. Now, remember, the police were right around the corner in the area. So that's honestly the episode. I think this review is probably more than 20 minutes. My bad. I think it's because I was talking relatively slower because of my boredom of the episode itself. But this was not a good start to the final batch of episodes. And technically, I know this is technically speaking the back half of season 8. So it's not like this was the quote-unquote true start of the final season, but this, I think it's because, like I said before, watching all of Tyler Perry's other shows on Viacom or BET specifically, and noticing that some of these shows have made necessary improvements like pacing and dialogue, to go back and remember these have and have not episodes, if I remember correctly, not counting reshoots and whatnot, these were done back in like 2019. So obviously we're going to see a lot of the tired tropes that we are tired of seeing in Tyler Perry writing. Repetitive dialogue, characters just like going back and forth about nothing, wasted scenes. And if this first episode is an indication of what we have to look forward to over the next 7 weeks, I'm not that excited. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think 4 out of 10 is too low of a score? And as always, if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.